Hey,
Hi.
it's cold out. 2 days and it's like 40 degrees cooler than it was. Today we got chilly and brisk breeze. But I got some stuff in the mail.
It's more like fresh.
Fresh breeze. Ordered a bunch of stuff and I went to the transmission shop this morning, as evidenced by the giant sticker on this, Mike's transmission. Lancaster, California. A lot of people, I've only lived up here in Mojave for about 4.5 years, and so many car guys were like, oh yeah, gotta go to Mike's, gotta go to Mike's. So finally I had the opportunity to go to Mike's. And I met, guess who?
Mike?
I met Mike. Super cool cat. The sticker was on it. I was like, hey dude, know anything about this? He's like, yeah, I rebuilt it. I was like, well, when? He's like, there's a number stamped on it, right there. A little hard to read. Was rebuilt by their company in, guess when? 1999. And it was never installed. So this has been sitting on someone's shelf since 1999. Brand new transmission. So he's like, check it out. We built it, we guarantee it, etc. But why don't we just open it up and look through, see if maybe a gasket dried out, hasn't been run, there's no juice in it. So I said, Mike, that sounds like a great idea. But there's one thing I need. I got to do a video this afternoon, and I am lacking a torque converter and a flex plate. And he was like, I got you. I heard some creaking in the floorboards. There was some movement upstairs. Comes down with a torque converter and a flex plate. Got that big block engine, had no thing on the end of the crankshaft. So yeah, he said, no, we could do this. Torque converter is going to get rebuilt. He said this is simply a core, but it is set up for this application. He said probably this transmission has got some action done inside. It may require a high stall speed converter. That's more like a race car thing. I was like, nah man, we got a truck and we're cruising. We need the low end, we need the torque. So they're gonna do all that. But I wanna build engine mounts and transmission mounts. So he said, let me just give you the stuff, build it, pop that unit out, and we'll freshen it up. And I said, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. We bonded over that moment. Everyone had a good laugh. I went on my way. That's the long story, real short. So what I'm gonna do right now, with my bare hands, I'm just gonna plug this in. See, it's brand new inside. All the seals are fresh. Typically you'd put a little lube on this when you install it, but this is all coming back apart. I'm just gonna insert that. He said, yeah, just, put it together, verify that all the splines fit. It looks like it might slip in a little bit more. Usually there's like 2 little steps, but we'll find out. I don't think this other client is going to need his tag on here anymore. And yeah, feels like it engaged. It's definitely behind that, so I guess it's as simple as that. I haven't done this much. I did a Ford C4 transmission, and it felt like it had like 2 sets of splines where it clicked in. See, this does have 2 sets of splines. So let me try the wiggle and the jiggle once more. Oh, there it is, see? Just look that up, there it is, boom, boom. Aha!
So I have a question.
Yes, nurse.
What does that thing do?
It's called a torque converter. What do you think it does?
It makes more torque.
Adjective and noun. It converts torque. Don't ask me what that means.
Well, that was my next question. What does that mean?
Well, there's some kind of thing in here. This is full of liquid.
Uh-huh.
Remember the clutch on the little dune buggy? The way that plate, that flat plate that Barry described. It was a friction disc that transmitted the power from the engine to the transmission. This has no friction disc. It's fluid drive. Yeah. Here, turn it. Feel it. It's kind of juicy.
I can't. I'm not strong enough.
I will explain. You can feel the juice inside.
Ah, there we go. Oh, wow.
So this whole thing is full of transmission fluid. And as this is spinning and spinning and spinning, it somehow converts the torque through the gears, etc. It's some witchcraft. I don't know anything about it.
In the comments, comment and tell me, educate me in the end.
Provides the same action as a clutch disc in a manual transmission, but it's fluid drive.
Feel free to comment on it because I read the comments and I learn a lot.
Me too. Got this flex plate. Got this mini starter, high torque. I verified that the splines are all splining. When you turn on the ignition key on the car, it spins this. Ignition turns on the starter, it spins the flex plate in this application. Thusly, the engine spins the torque converter. Science. Yeah, got some engine mounts. A lot of people call them motor mounts. I call them engine mounts. You know why?
Why?
What do you think the difference between a motor and an engine is? I'll wait.
I don't really think that there's any difference.
Oh, we're going to have to open our computers and press the letter G for Google search. A motor is electric. An engine is internal combustion or whatever. Yes. It's a broader definition, but in short. Why aren't you like hamburgers?
Say that again?
Do you like hamburgers?
Yes.
I'm going on with the comparisons. Why are there no quarter pounders in Europe?
Well, that's because of the metrics.
Oh, you watched the movie. Come on.
I know that.
I'm trying to keep the mood light.
I can't walk into that.
We don't have a lot of work to do today, so I'm trying to keep it spicy. My stand-up routine. 2 engine mounts, not motor mounts. This part bolts to the engine block. It's got 3 bolts. And I like the stock factory stuff for this application because I want it to drive like a factory truck. Some of the race car stuff is more rigid mounted. Transfers a little bit of shimmy shake. They go together like that. This goes on the chassis. This goes on the engine. I gotta buy the right bolts. Right now I'm just gonna stick these little pieces of all thread through here just to locate them. And I'm gonna do a car parts run in the morning, but for now, yeah, chassis, engine, boom, boom. I already installed one. I'm gonna install the next when I get this up on the lift. What are we missing? Got a carburetor, got a water pump, aluminum, got some muffler pipes. It's got 8 tubes. Any idea why?
Because it is a big block Chevy and it's an 8. It's a V8.
That is correct.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning.
We're catching on.
Yeah, because you taught me that.
I'm gonna hook this up to the engine hoist. Sometimes this will make a fantastic squeaking noise. Let's see. Nope. I put a whole bunch of WD in those wheels. So because this is a big block, that means it's heavy duty. I'm gonna retract our telescope. I think pretty much to here. We're gonna go on the minimum setting because this low-priced engine hoist will be maxed out with this application.
How much do you think that thing weighs?
I can't pick it up. We have a choice of 1/2 ton or 2 ton, so I'm gonna err on the side of caution. It's definitely not even a 1/2 ton.
It's 500 pounds.
I think that's a quarter ton. I think 2,000 pounds a ton. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Again, comment below. I'll forget to Google it.
Because that's how we do everything nowadays. I read something online, a little meme or whatever, and it made really interesting sense. Speaking of everything being researched on Google, a young girl was asking her father, "Dad, why would anyone hang up the phone?" Right? Think about that for a minute. It doesn't add up. That's an old guy joke. I'm going to bring this up to about the level of that transmission jack, because I bought a transmission jack, and darn it, I'm going to use one. I bought it for a project where the car was on our lift, and I was like, I'm going to use this again someday. And so far, I hadn't had the opportunity, so here we are. So that's what that thing does. It holds it.
Hey, it's it.
Bring it up a little more, almost that level. All right, so on the rear side of this unit, we got some holes. And Mike over there said, you're going to need some bolts.
That is quite the pile of bolts.
We got a basically 22-mile run back and forth to the hardware store, so I don't have the bolts for the flex plate. I mistakenly only picked up the hardware for the bell housing and the motor mounts to the block and the torque converter bolts. So in my pile O stuff, I was able to source one fine thread. It appears to be a 7/16. So transmission's going to come back out. I'm just going to put the flex plate on to verify everything will line up. So this goes on here like so. Kind of line up the holes. It looks like they're lined up. I'm just going to knock one in place just so we bolt it up. We can check that the torque converter and everything is groovy. And then I will get the rest of the hardware. Oops. Just, that's a pretty tight fit. I mean, it should be, because the entire power of the engine is going through this. Let me, it's got a little rust. Let me just give that a little wire wheel action. I'll do that with the drill so it won't be super loud. Tom was so kind to do all the work to this engine. It had been sitting for a long time as well, so let's get that nice and shiny. I don't really want to sand on this because I don't want to change the diameter at all. These are supposed to be sort of a tight fit, so could just be a little crust. I see a little dent right here. Look at that. That got dinged. That's not a deal breaker, but could be why it's not fitting. Let's explore. Now this is definitely not what you'll see on any of those big budget professional auto mechanic shows. All right, we're close. This is like 220 grit and it's kind of worn out, but just to shine it up, it's so close. Yeah, see that little dent? Just my experience with metalwork. You can tell when it's smooth and it's got a little action done to it. Yes, I am actually block sanding the crankshaft as we speak. Highly unusual. But look, I cleaned it up. See if it fits now. Oh yeah, it's close. That'll slip on. I'm gonna need more than one bolt though. It'll go. It's supposed to be like a perfect fit. Oh, pile of bolts. Produce one more, please. These look like 1/2 inch. Ooh, look at this. A winner.
Yay.
If we get 3, then we are in business. Number 2. Oh, pile of bolts. Produce just one more. See, that's too big. We're looking for fine thread. See how fine that is?
Come on, pile of bolts. It's like looking for a quarter or
It
like
is.
a nickel.
Looking for a quarter at the toll booth. Nope, you got 2, so we're just going to put them exactly opposite from each other. I'm going to give this a quick trim with the grinder. Won't be super loud. All right, so we got 2 bolts. And we are verifying the threads that just threaded. Come on, don't be fussy. Still being fussy. So do you know much about threaded bolts?
No, I do not.
So the threads are actually a spiral. So what I was just doing was I was cutting the edge of the end of the spiral off so that it will
Gotcha.
it'll index. Simple stuff. Worth speaking on. So we're gonna just cross them over, and that should draw it on without any harm. Yeah, do that, and again, I'll just get the proper bolts and washers. I'm gonna use the pneumatic tool. So I'm just going to draw this in with 2 and tap it with the hammer slowly if we need to. Now it's going on. Yeah. So I shouldn't have to take this back off. I'll just pull these bolts and then yeah, it just went. It was that little ridge, see? That's right, we're supposed to. Yeah, see, it just fell in. Perfect. Whoa. I'm just going to draw all these tight. That way it's perfectly in place.
That's pretty cool.
It's part of living in the desert. You got to make do with what you got for the moment. Come on. Yeah, so that pulled up just as it's supposed to. Cool. Yeah, just a issue of getting the proper amount of bolts. Again, this is just the mock-up. So these holes here are where the torque converter will bolt to this, and that's the coupler.
Oh wow,
bring
that's a very large engine setup. Holy cow.
It's a big block.
Wow.
They come a little bit bigger than this, but this is one of the larger ones. This is a 1972, as I'm told. So
the bigger ones, are they put in like bigger trucks?
Sure, a 454 would be even bigger than this. That's all displacement numbers. And then, yeah, there's some Hemi Chrysler engines that are, what I'm told, really big. I don't know a lot about it. I'm more of an artist type. So we're going to put these 2 together right here.
You said you're more of an artist type.
I said it.
You offered.
Getting close. Remember we did the same thing on that dune buggy? Kind of a universal thing. You got to get these 2 at the same height and join them. You know what it's called?
conjoined. I don't know.
It's actually called mating the engine and transmission. That's a true story. Look at that. Got 6 of these. Look, I bought the right bolts for this. Grade 8 hardware.
Stronger.
That ain't going nowhere. When they're this color, they're typically grade 8. I know they are because I bought them at the hardware store in the grade 8 bin, but that's just a little point of reference. Silver bolts are less stronger.
Oh, really?
Grade 8.
So what color are those?
See all the rest on the table? Most of them are silver.
Uh-huh.
See?
Yeah, no, I looked at the pile of bolts
Yeah.
multiple times.
Not as strong. Very strong.
Ah.
That's why you can use grade 5 in this application, but I said, hey,
grade
I'm
8.
gonna splurge. I'm gonna splurge the extra 3 cents per bolt. I'm just gonna go in.
Do it.
I'm a roller like that. I will go for the grade 8 when grade 5 is required. I don't even flinch. At this point, also, you might get underneath and bolt the torque converter to the flex plate, but we're not going to do that because that's coming back out after we build the engine mounts and transmission mounts. Come on. Perfect fit. It's on the lowest setting on this tool. You can hear it's not very aggressive. Just to get everything settled in place. You know it's going to be fun?
What?
Trying to take this thing off these 2 stands.
Well, I was wondering about that.
Me too. Hey, okay. We're going to find out if this thing it does have transmission fluid in it. All right, the predicament of working alone. There's no assistance in this shop. I can't ask the camera operator to get involved with this struggle.
So what are you going to do with it now? Put it over on little Jewel?
I'm going to figure out, see how this has 3 holes?
Mm-hmm.
Because I added all that weight. I'm going to move the hook to this one, but right now I'm figuring out how to get it off of this. I can hold the transmission weight in my hand, but I cannot do that. So I'm going to set up an improvisational moment. We're going to pull this whole sketchy arrangement this way.
What'd you say, sketchy?
Oh yes. See a little acrobatics. Anybody that works alone will understand the struggle. Aha! Just like that. So what I'm trying to do, the distributor's back here, I'm trying to set up kind of a sling to get this neutral. A lot of times you'll go through these bolt holes on the back of the block. So that being said, now that it's lower, you can see it's pretty manageable. Definitely not the thing to do if you're a first timer. I'm a little bit of a monster at times. All right, let's get a chain and try to set up a balance point on this. You'll see some oil come out of this. That's why I didn't want to get it too far out of kilter. No, we're good. A lot of times that will be draining a lot of oil, or transmission fluid rather.
So what are you doing? Just trying to get it on the ground?
Yeah, exactly, because we're gonna want to put this engine hoist in perpendicular to the frame rails. See, right now everything's parallel. And our shop is pretty small with all this gear in here. But Yeah. True mechanics confessions. So I'm thinking we might bring this out a little bit. Trying to get this hook past the distributor. I guess I should take the cap off in advance, because one wrong turn on that and it's going to wrench that distributor. And just as a disclaimer, don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional.
Are you?
Trained. Seriously, don't go picking up no big block engines with one hand and using the engine hoist in another. All right, let's find some good bolts in our pile O stuff. So see, if I go from here to here, looks like I'll be out of the way of that distributor. All right, we're gonna try a little balancing act. Again, closer to the ground this time, and carry on. So this may or may not balance out, because I have a strap to the front of the block now, but let's just see. Yeah, any true mechanic would have a different arrangement than I do, but this is how a fabricator goes about accomplishing this challenge. Wow, that's smaller than the other side. Interesting. Look at that. The bolts on that side of the head, are bigger than this side. Huh.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. I don't mess around with engines. I'm exploring this for the first time. Any idea? Heads are from two different cars. That's quite possible. Yeah, look. That's
Comment, tell us, everyone. We want to know.
first time. I know for a fact that Tom took these to the machine shop and had them done, whatever they do, the valves, etc. But yeah, look at this. I have to put a tap in there. I assume as long as the combustion chamber and valves and all the things inside are identical, it shouldn't matter. But you know, this is an external tapped hole. So these are, Jamie, these are taps and dies. They fix threads or make threads should you need to.
Wow.
Yeah, we have all the arrangements. We're working with three.
All these arrangements.
Oh yeah, you got metric, standard. So see, that's got some goo on it because it helps lubricate when you're cutting with this. These are actually they're called taps, but they cut metal.
Oh.
So we're just going to clean out these bores.
I understand.
Yeah, that makes a bolt hole. But these already exist. There's probably just got paint in it. Happens all the time. See how easy it goes in?
Yeah.
You don't want to break one of these off in the engine block. Ask me how I know. Yeah, all good. So, cool. This might be a metric bolt. That's what you get for having a pile of bolts. Now you can understand why everything I say is going to take about this long, and it takes 50 times longer.
The struggle is real.
Right, you saw it was going to be lickety split. We're working right through this.
A lot of fast forwarding and editing, y'all. But he gets it done.
Slow and steady. So yeah, let's just pick it up by this and see what happens. I'm gonna put this all the way into its bore. This one's got a hook on her. Yeah, look at that. Now it won't hit the distributor.
Oh my gosh.
See what I was going for there?
Yeah. I was wondering.
So that's there. I'm just gonna see. It's gonna have a bit more weight than the other arrangement, but I'm gonna hook up this ratchet strap and just see what the weight distribution is on this giddy up. pretty good. Yeah, see that?
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, we're going to want a little bit lower in the tail. So I'm going to put a block under this, bring up the ratchet strap, and then balance it once again. I'm actually going to put a safety strap on this as well. Do a little double up, I guess, just in case it gets. It's fun working in this shop, isn't it?
I'm fascinated.
Adventure around every corner. Yeah, here we go. I'm just taking a little weight off of this. And I'm going to bring some of this front end into alignment. Yeah, see, now it's hanging good. Got a little extra strap. And let's put a little love around the crankshaft as well, just to be sure. Yeah, it's pretty level. Enough to get it suspended.
So why does it have to be level?
I'm going to explain that next. Because the way the transfer case, remember the spinning parts in the transfer case? They all have to line up. So there's another spinning part that comes out of the back of that.
So it's got to line up. This front part's got to line up with this part?
Well, that would be considered the front part. And this being the rear part is called the tail shaft. And there is a slip yoke that looks just like that one that slips onto these splines. And a drive shaft, one of these things, custom, goes between it. There's a lot of action.
Those are a lot of words I don't even know.
I said slip shaft, drive shaft, slip yoke, pancakes. Yeah. So this is one of the joys of moving a big block engine with a low budget engine hoist. It never steers right. You hit one rock, it's not moving, but they hold up. So there's something to be said for, you know, bare essentials. This is affordable. It does work. It's just, you're going to watch me struggle now. Trying to steer this thing. Oil pan looks like it's high up enough. Let's bring her in. So it goes without saying that you do not want to be under this at any point. When I did the thing on the table, I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to get out of the way. Should something horrible occur, if this lets go, forget about it. Talk about flat foot. Interesting. The cross member is...
Do you want me to come on that side?
No, you can look right under.
Where?
Cross member is right in the way of the oil pan. We can come back a bit. Let's try that. So now we're getting very tight towards the rear slip yoke transfer case coupling. Look, it might work. I don't know if we can do a direct drive back here. We might be able to sneak that. See, these two have to line up. And you don't want the engine on this big, huge incline. Right now, it's far out from where we want to be. We want to be somewhere in this direction. I think I'm going to get another strap, and I'm going to try to tether that down. What I'm trying to do is just suspend this and just get a look. You know, this is all theory until right now. Oh man, the oil pan is getting into that cross member. We're pretty tight here. We have the opportunity, if we customize this rear mount, to move this back about 4 inches easy. And that's why I only tacked that. We're doing the same here. Grab one more strap. This is becoming quite an episode, huh?
Yeah.
Never underestimate the power of a simple tie-down strap. I use these things for all kinds of stuff, from fabrication to engine install. It's like a giant zip tie that you can constantly reuse. And you'll see why I'm doing this. Pull that right into place. I'm gonna bring her down. Right? So you want that somewhere in this realm. Yeah, look at that cross member up front. The plot is thickening. We are smashing on the oil pan for sure.
So how do you fix that?
That's going to be on our next episode. I told you, well, we said it's going to be like 170,000 episodes on this project. Welcome to the real world. Don't happen in an hour. Ladies and gentle germs. I am going to leave it like this for the moment. I'm going to grab this white chalk and explain what we're having problems with already, just visually, and what's coming up next. I'm running 3 projects at a time, and I got to figure out how to move this thing in and out. So we're going to wrap this up right now. Oil pan, the orange thing. This torsion bar cross member mount, definitely going to clash. Is going to have to get modified firstly. Engine mounts are here on these 3 bolts. They look like they're going to be in a good place. You can make some nice engine mounts. The rake of the engine looks pretty suitable. I'm going to ask you, Jamie, to back up and get a good view of this and the valve cover top. Mostly this here. There's a certain degree of rake you want in this as compared to the chassis. So we're going to work on that. But the big issue right now is this is in the way. Looks like there's plenty of room for the rear. There's going to be a cross member similar to this material that comes under here to support the back of the transmission. And it's really straightforward. It's just this is some serious heavy metal. I don't know, I got nothing else. Here we are. I think this is going to have to come back out. But now we're staged. I got the balance figured out. I could take off that piece of the engine hoist. I'm going to leave this in the chassis and then do my work tomorrow. And we'll come back tomorrow afternoon and rediscover. We're going to be cutting some stuff, welding some stuff, mocking some stuff. It's going to be awesome.